Our political insiders join us live in the studio tonight. Democratic strategist Tony May and Republican strategist Charlie Gerow. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. And we'll begin with Wisconsin.
We should. I mean, a lot of people here in Pennsylvania are paying close attention to this because today, Ohio, or was it Iowa, also started the same process.
So it's a serious issue because what's happening is that people who are in charge, management is pitting private sector workers who aren't paid enough against public sector workers who are paid at a better rate. I think it's going to be an epic struggle across the country because there's now so few people who are unionized. They're outnumbered by people who are in a similar work situation but don't make as much money. So I see the problem can be solved by raising the pay of people in the private sector, which is really the way we should look at this if we really cared about employees in general, but we don't seem to.
Is this something that could move here to the Keystone State?
Well, it's interesting to see what's going on in Wisconsin because, as the report suggested, not all of the protesters are from Wisconsin. There are lots of folks being bussed in from around the country. It's a good thing when local citizens demonstrate, let their voices be heard, and petition their government. But where Tony's a little bit off on this is, for the first time, the taxpayers have a seat at the table in New Jersey, in Wisconsin, in Ohio, and here in Pennsylvania. We've got huge budget holes. We've got public sector salaries, benefits, pension packages that frankly are unsustainable at their current levels. It's great to say let's raise the standard of living and the salaries of private sector workers. We're all for that. But there's a big difference, a huge difference between the public sector, who are paid for by those folks in the private sector working to pay the taxes, and the folks in the public sector. And in fact, there's a little bit of a fissure now in the organized labor movement between the folks who are in the building trades councils, the electrical workers, iron workers, steel workers, et cetera, and the public employee unions, who they see as having maybe sometimes a little bit too cushy of a deal.
Well, Charlie's got that wrong. But the main thing is, Charlie, if you had someone who worked around your home, would you underpay them or try to chintz on their salary just because you were having tough times? You want to make them have tough times? The question is whether or not
these salaries are sustainable with billion-dollar holes in our budgets. How do you close those holes without looking at these issues?
In the state of Pennsylvania, there is only like I'm sorry, I can't even remember the numbers now, but the percentage of the state budget is a small fragment devoted to salaries. I mean, this is the issue, that we're trying to make employees the scapegoats for all of the budget profligacy.
So, Tony, you think it should be taken somewhere else?
But when you say if you have somebody working around your house, would you still keep paying them, even if you don't have enough money? How can you do that? You're going to end up going into the red, just like the states.
But you do have enough money.
You're just not taking it from the right place. Is that what you're saying?
That's right.
So where would you take it from, Tony?
Well, that is the problem that confronts people in general. There are programs that pay benefits to people who are poor, unemployed, have serious illnesses. This is a problem confronting state government, and people like you, Charlie, are just worried about paying more taxes, and you can't do anything unless you pay a few more dollars in taxes. But taxes are funds to pay for programs that benefit everybody.
I am worried about the families of Pennsylvania who paid too much in taxes. I don't have too many of my neighbors or friends saying, gee, my biggest problem is that I don't pay enough in taxes. I know, Tony, that you think it's just wonderful when folks are taking more of their hard-earned dollars and sending them to Harrisburg or Washington, but most people think that when their family budget gets a little bit bigger, when their family budget gets a little bit bigger and they can decide for themselves how those hard-earned dollars are spent, that we're all a lot better off. This collectivist mentality hasn't worked. It has bankrupted us, literally and figuratively. It's time to start closing these budget holes, and this is something that has to be done. These governors are doing the right things, and ultimately it's because of the manifest wishes of the voters in last November's elections.
Do you see it coming here to Pennsylvania?
I do, because then the reason why people from Pennsylvania and other states are in Wisconsin is because this is the first volley of a national campaign by the Republican Party to try to destroy unions, not only for public employees, but also for your friends in the building trades, and for the rank and file people who push bedpans in hospitals or push brooms in public schools, all across the board. There is a plan to get rid of unionized employees.
Last word, Charlie.
Oh, I get the last word.
You get the last word. We're almost out of time.
To say that this is an organized effort to get rid of public employee unions is silly. The fact of the matter is, this is an organized effort to simply get budgets under control.
Do away with bargaining rights is getting rid of employees.
To give taxpayers a seat at the table and to allow the free market to work again and to allow people to keep more of what they earn and decide for themselves and for their families how their hard-earned dollars are spent. This notion that bigger government and more spending on the part of government is a better thing has been rejected wholesale by the American people.
I don't agree.
I feel like these guys are going to take it outside.
I know. We might have to watch them during the commercial break. Well, you know what? It is such a black and white issue, and that is why the protests are going on. So we'll have to see what happens. And we did say we were going to talk about the new group in Harrisburg. We'll have to get to that next week.
As if there isn't enough controversy to go.
I know. Thanks, guys.